Okay, so welcome back. In this one, we need to talk about the Phasor, phase modules, and data lookup modules on the data. So the Phasor is this one. We're going to talk about most of the options we have right here, and then we're going to talk about this ones. So it's not going to be a short video. We're gonna do a lot, but the thing is that most of the modules that we have right here are kind of a self-explanatory. Once we see it right there on the oscilloscope, we can easily see what they do. So the first one that we are going to talk about, and I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to bring a filter so we can do a little bit of filtering. If not, it's just going to be a little bit too annoying because we are going to be talking about the Phasor. Now, we never used this one. We maybe used the scalar and the reverse and the reset on the previous sections. And on this one, we never used the Phasor. So the Phasor, in this case, what it's going to do is going to be still working with the device phase, and we know how the device phase works because we've been using it a lot. But the Phasor does just that. But instead, we have controls like we do with an oscillator. Now, remember the phase in Bitwig, it's just saw, and it's very important for us. So for now, just so we can see what this does, I'm going to go and put it right here so we can inspect, and I'm going to be connecting this here. So notice what we get, right? So we do get, an instruction. And if I go to slow, notice that this works like an oscillator. And if I connect it right here to our, not here, maybe I'm going to need to connect it to here. Oh, made a mistake right there. I'm going to need to connect it right there. So if I play something, notice that we get a tone, and we can use this as an oscillator. Now I'm doing a little bit of cutting, and at the end of this one, it's going to be a saw because again, it works just like the device phase. But again, we get connections or we get controls like an oscillator. If I can disconnect the keyboard, every time I play a key, we're gonna get always the same thing. I can even, work with the ratios right here. We can go higher or we can go slower. We can use semitones, of course, as well, and even unshift or shift. The left from the right, so we can get that stereo width. Now, on top of that, you can maybe go and make the data or bring the data and bring some pitches. So maybe you just can control this with this and disconnect the keyboard and whenever you play something. Right? So you can use it as an oscillator. It's just very simple. Now, the difference is, of course, that this works just like this. And let me just go to default. Let's make it default like that. And I'm going to connect the keyboard. And I'm going to maybe do something like that. Now, one main difference is that notice that this one works on the positive side of things. We don't go to negatives, that's fine. So now, instead of just talking about this one, because this one is just very simple at this point, I want to talk about the other ones we get on the data. Because the main thing right here is that we can get kind of a saw-like sound, and we get that in a waveform as well. We can see it right there. But we can, maybe turn it or convert it to something else. And we have this modules right here, the data lookup modules. So we can use this one to change whatever we want right here. So maybe I will just bring a pulse. And notice by default, this one is accepting the phase of something. So this one will do just that. Now I'm going to go right there. And instead of just putting it there, I'm going to connect it. And now we're going to get something different. The Phasor, we know this is a saw, but when it goes through here, this one is going to kind of change it or shift it to a pulse. And now instead of getting, and let me do a little bit of cutting, instead of just getting a saw, we're going to get a pulse. Right? So very cool. So on this one, in the case of pulse, you get just two controls right here. Now, since this is a pulse, you can control the width right here of the pulse. You can just make it very narrow. Or you can just control how this one is going to be shaping. And you can turn it into kind of a triangle. Now, you can see right here how it's just shaping it instead of watching right here. This gives you kind of an overview, and it's kind of a folding or just kind of a bending the sides. Right. So at the end of the day, you can use the Phasor. Let me just go back to default. You can use the Phasor and maybe use any of the modules that you have right here to convert this to something else. Maybe you want, in this case, you want a saw. So we are going to be getting a saw. Now, the thing is that, of course, we already get a saw on this one. But in this one, it's just going to be unipolar, not bipolar. And this it looks a little bit different. And it's because it is. Now, of course, you have this control right here, and you're going to be changing how the waveform behaves right here. So same thing, same deal. You get the sine wave, and you just can turn it into a sine wave. Right? So same thing with the triangle. We get the triangle, and all of these modules are very simple. That's why I'm going kind of fast through them. And I believe at this point, you know, this is pretty self-explanatory. And with the window, we get the same thing. We get only half, and we kind of get kind of a sine wave in this case. Right, so very easy, very simple to understand. Now, the main thing is that we could use whatever we want and then shape it with this, and it doesn't matter what we are using, right? So maybe I just want to bring an LFO just to show you, and I'm going to disconnect this one. Maybe I'm going to go right here, and this one is going to be outputting an instruction, and we know how this works. It's going to go right here. We're going to get our LFO, and maybe I'm going to go to slow, and maybe I'm going to go bipolar. And then in this case, I'm just going to go and bring this module, and it will just change how the instruction works, right? So we get something completely different. So yeah, same idea with the other ones, right? So we're going to be changing whatever we connect it to. Right, again, it's just very simple to understand. Let's go and take a look at the other ones, because these ones are just very simple. Now, I want to talk about the other ones, the ones we have right here. And these ones are super cool. Now, this doesn't mean that we can or we need to use a Phasor in order to do whatever we want with these ones. I'm going to go and bring the face in, which is the device face. Just going to connect it right here, and we're going to see that this will alter how it behaves, right? And same thing right here. Maybe I want to make it a kind of a triangle-ish kind of a thing, and we're going to get it. Now notice it goes to negative and positive. That is important. I'm going to go back to the Phasor and just connect it right there, move it, and I'm going to make it to pitch so we can see what's going on right there. Let me just disable the mod wheel. Sometimes, you know, just I enable it by mistake. I'm using the key step, and the mod wheel is just driving me crazy. Okay, so whenever you work with phase, in this case, you have these modules, and with these modules, you just can shift or convert or, you know, mingle the phase into something else. In this case, you know, I'm not doing much. I'm just doing a triangle. We get this saw right now. If we go directly to the Phasor, so maybe we can bring the bend, and notice that they all accept different things. This ones will accept the phase, but this one needs right here an input source like an oscillator. This one needs the key, you know, the pitch in. This one needs a trigger. So they all, you know, might require different inputs. Right, so if I bring the bend right here, and most of them are just going to be self-explanatory, we are just getting a saw, and we know we get a saw with a Phasor, so this one will just bend it. If I go all the way down or just go down, notice that it's just bending this part. So we can make it linear, exponential, or logarithmic. That's the whole idea. If I go up, you're going to go the other way. So again, just pretty self-explanatory. Now if I go to the pinch one, this one, notice it's going to kind of give us that tiny curve, S-curve. So yeah, that's you know what this one will do. So all of these modules, they will do something different. And of course, this doesn't mean that you just can use one of them. You can just maybe go right here, do a pinch, and then go right there and just do a bend just like this, or maybe make it more exponential. And you know, you're just gonna get different shapes. And the combination of them will just, you know, make you have different things. Cool. Now, of course, if we play, this is going to change how it sounds. Notice how we get more bottom end if we'll go right here. Right, so very simple. Now, the reverse, we already know the reverse, like the reset. And then we have this ones. Of course, the reverse is just going to do a reverse, right? It's just going to reverse it. We already talked about and used this in the future, in the past. Then we have the wrap and we have the pitch. And this one's will kind of work in a different way because they need a different in. So if I go right here and bring an oscillator, let me just bring something kind of let's say predictable. And I'm going to bring a saw so we know how the saw will look. And of course, we are going to get a saw. Now, since we are going from an input, an audio input, and then we go out, by default, this is going to be outputting negative and positive. But when we go through this, it's just going to make it just positive, 0 and 1. We're going to get the upper part, not the lower part. Now, of course, this is what it does. It's just going to wrap whatever is that you're doing. So if you remember, if I go right there, notice what's going on. On each cycle right here, we have this going up and then going down. Let me just make it bigger. Going down right here from all the way down, going up. So this one is going to wrap whatever is that we are doing right here. And the phase, we get kind of a 2 of this ones. And that's, what this one is going to do. Because this one will output phase. It's just a little bit different. We get an input of an audio source or an input source, and then it will output something different, just like that. It's going to wrap it. Now, of course, if we go up and right here, it's just going to change how it behaves. Because this one is, of course, this one, of course, will listen what we are doing right here. Right? That's the whole point. So, all right. So again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Now, of course, we can use all of this just to get something else. If I go to the output, we're going to get something like that. If I just go directly, it's going to sound lower. And remember, we are going just in positives in this one, and this one is going to go in positive and negative. It's just a little bit different, so things that you need to kind of consider in this case. Let me delete this. And right here we have the pitch, and this one I'm going to need to show you what this does because it's not that easy to see like the other ones. This one needs the pitch. Now what this one will do, and it says right here, wraps pitch signal octave as a phase signal. It's just, kind of looks a little bit weird or, sounds a little bit weird. If I connect this one right here and I start typing, playing a key, and I keep playing a key, it's going to go up because I'm going up in pitch. So let me just bring an oscillator right there. Just going to connect it so we can hear what we are doing. And if I connect this one right here, now this one is controlling the pitch. I'm going to disconnect the keyboard and go all the way up. So if I play something, notice I'm going up in pitch and this line is just going up. So this one, what it will do, it will listen whatever we are doing, and it will wrap it and convert it into phase. And you're going to see it right here. Right, so maybe I'm going to need to select this one. Notice that we don't get a clear instruction. I'm going to go slow because this is, again, it's going to turn into phase. And notice how this is behaving. And I'm going to start with a low C. It's going to be C, and I'm going to play all the white keys. And notice it goes up, and as soon as I reach the B, which is the last key before the next octave, then I play a next octave, the next C, and it's going to start over. So this is what, this is what it does. And let me just remove this one so we can see. It's going to recognize the pitch in, and it's just going to give us that. And then it starts over. If I play a new octave, and if I start a new octave, it's just going to do the same thing over and over again. So this is what, this module is going to do. Very simple. Now, of course, always remember that you can do whatever you want with this. This is the phase. You can reverse it if you wish. It doesn't matter. You can just mangle and just modify whatever it is that you're doing right here and just turn it into something else. Notice how it's changing right here. Right. So again, all of these modules that are modules that you need to just kind of use and do a little bit of experimentation, of course. So then you have the counter, and you do have something similar on a different module. Now, this one will need a trigger, and then it will just output a phase. So I'm going to go and just connect it right here. But it needs something to trigger and start the counting. Now, I'm maybe going to go to, I don't know where, maybe random. So I'm going to go to data. I'm going to use the triggers because we already talked about triggers and we know how it works. It's going to trigger 4 on each cycle. So this one needs a trigger. As soon as I connect this, I know that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 on each cycle, right? It's going to trigger 4 times on each cycle. And this, it belongs to the kind of a previous section, maybe the section number 10, the video number 10. And that is how it goes. It's going to go in step fashion all the way up. And then it starts over when the cycle starts over. Now, at the end of the day, this is still going to count. So if I change it, notice it's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's just counting 8 steps. But right here, we are just doing 2 cycles. If I start changing this is going to start to behave in a different thing because we are just doing less steps. If I do much more steps, it's just again going to work in a different way. Just going to get a longer transition all the way to the top. Now, if I do change this one, again, it's just going to work on a little bit different. Right, again, at the end of the day, you can use all the other phase modules just to do something. Maybe I'm going to do a bend and just bend it. And we are going to get, again, a different instruction. Just looks a little bit different. If we do the other way, we got the tiny bump right here, and then we go all the way to the top. And this, again, could be used as a modulation instruction if you wish, or if you must. So I'm going to bring a Phasor so we can hear what we are doing. I'm just going to connect it right there. And in this case, I will bring the first one, which is going to be the formant. Just going to go and connect it. So this one, pretty much, it's very simple. And let me just go to the pitch. So we get our saw, right? With the Phasor, we know we get that saw. And I'm enabling the mod wheel again. We get that saw. Cool. And we know. Now the formant, what it will do, it will just kind of change it at some point. And notice it will kind of go and just turn it into almost a square. And the instruction or how it's doing it, you see it right there. You get the instruction of how much you're doing. Now, if you go all the way to the bottom, you're just going to get almost nothing. So you need to be aware of this. And of course, we can use the same thing we did right there with the data. Maybe I want to turn this into, I don't know, a sine wave. Maybe I can use it right here. This is going to go through here, goes through here, and we can still, of course, change the phase of whatever it is that we are doing. But remember that this phase will be from 0 to 1, so maybe I'm going to be putting this first, and then I'm going to be going to the sine wave, and this will alter the positive and negative of the sine wave. Right, so super cool. Again, all of these modules are things that you need to use for experimentation. Just check how, which kind of a waveform you can get after you do something. Right, so super cool. Notice all the different kind of waveforms that we can get by doing different combinations. And that's and how the Mandalorian would say, that's the way, right? Because if I just connect this just to this one, we are just not going to get something super cool. Right, we are just not going to get it. And as soon as you start connecting all the things and you get different waveforms, you just start to get different things. And that's the whole idea of these modules. If I bring and connect maybe a formant and go to an LFO and provide something else, maybe a different instruction, again, the formant is just going to change how this behaves, right? And if we start even modulating, we get a different instruction. All right, so again, the sky's the limit, but you need to do a little bit of experimentation right here. All right, so I'm still using the Phasor, and I had to, make a tiny pause. I'm going to bring the lag. Now, the lag is just, it's just that. It's going to be a lag. And for now, of course, the Phasor is going to look like this, and it has audio rate. So if we take a listen to this, of course, it's going to be much faster. If I go to pitch, we can see what this is doing. But in reality, this is what we are getting pretty much. It's going super fast, like an oscillator. Now, the lag is just going to do that. It's going to add lag. If I go and start going up and up at some point, and maybe we can, disconnect it from here and just hear what this is doing. Because at some point, it's going to make it slower, and it's just going to maybe break it. And notice, we start going much slower. It's just... Notice that this is going much slower right now. And if I keep going up, at some point we are gonna be turning this into a kind of an LFO. Or LFO territory. Notice now it's going super slow. Now the lag is sometimes very useful when you have an instruction and you want to smooth it out. Alright. So that's the lag. What else? We can use the mirror. This one is cool. I'm going to go and just bring the face in. It's just going to be a little bit easier to see. I'm going to go there and just bring the mirror. And just like this word says, mirror, just gonna take whatever you have right here, and it's like putting a mirror before the end of the cycle. And I know it sounds weird, and maybe you can use a Phasor instead. So okay, I'm gonna go to the oscilloscope and I'm gonna use pitch so we can see right there. So if we put a mirror right here, of course the opposite is gonna be the kind of the reversed phase that we have right here. And if I go up on the mirror, it's just gonna do that. But of course it's gonna shift it like that, and now we get a triangle, right? That's the saw, and then we get the mirrored one. Now at some point, if you start keeping going up, it's gonna start doing the same thing, and you're gonna get twice, and then you're gonna get more and more and more. So that's the mirror. Now remember again, at the end of the day, this one will affect how it sounds. So if I go right there and just listen how it sounds, we get that kind of our sing sound when we start to move it. But you know, it could be really useful. Now remember that when we earlier we did something on the previous sections just to convert the signal that was unipolar to bipolar. So we can still do that. I'm going to go right here. We have a unipolar signal we can use take it from uni and go to bi, and then go right here, and maybe just gonna connect it right there. And I'm gonna go connect it here, and now we have a bipolar signal. And if I take it right there and go out, now we get that. So how important that this tiny little modules are just to shift the waveform and get different sounds. And we still have more. We are in the mirror, which is this one. We have the shift. I'm going to go to the shift, and this one is particular. Let me just show you right here. The shift, it's very simple to understand. We are going to be shifting the phase. So if I play something, we are just shifting the phase. We just don't hear anything super specific, but we can see that we are shifting the phase, right? So very simple. Now this module, like other modules, they have a stereoize kind of a feature that we can see. Now the thing is that it's a little bit here to kind of a weird to hear. I'm gonna put it right here in between. So we are doing pretty much nothing, and I'm gonna enable it. Now all the modules on Bitwig, they are stereo. So this one will do, it will shift the left from the right. It will start shifting the positive and the phase on the left and the right side. Now if it's doing +1 on the right, it's gonna do -1 on the left. For example, I'm just giving an example. Right now, we are just gonna be able to see it, but if I do something, notice that we can hear this. And it works just like, you know, it sounds very stereo. And it's because we are unshifting the left from the right. We have the phase is shifted. So if we wanted to kind of see what is going on right here behind the scenes, we just cannot see it right there. And if you go right here, this is going to be one in the left, and maybe this is the one in the right. So let me just show you a different way. Let me just think how we can do this. Let me okay. So maybe you can go to the mix section. Now the mix section, what it does, and maybe we can talk about this in the future. If I connect this one right here, we are going to be taking whatever comes out from here, and then we can just output the left, the right, the mid, and the side. So if we think about this one is shifting the left and the right. So maybe we can connect the left right here, and then the right there, and we can easily see how this one is shifting it. Sorry for that. It's going to be shifting it, and notice that it's shifting it by a lot. So again, like I've told before, if this one is going 1, then the other one is going 2, and at some point we are going to be kind of matching whatever we are. In this case, we are matching right there. If I keep going up, it's just gonna shift the phase from left and right. All right? So pretty simple. Now, some other modules in the phase section can do the same thing. Notice the formant cannot, in this case. The mirror, in this case, cannot. The shift can, of course. And the other modules, like this one, for example, this one can do it. So we're going to talk about that one. Let me just bring it like that. I'm going to go right there. And this one, what it does is just pretty simple. I'm going to disable the sterilize for now. And what we are going to do is going to be doing that. Right. Now, of course, we can still do the sterilize. And we're going to get a difference between left and right, but it's just a little bit different than the shift, right? It's just a little bit different. It's a little bit less obvious, let's say. So it's kind of doing the opposite, and the shift works the same way. If we go to minus right here, on the opposite side, it's going to go to plus. So we get the other way. What we are doing right here, we get it on the left, and we on the right, and then the other thing. If we go all the way to the left, we get it on the right. So it's just doing the opposite, right? If it goes to -1, on the other one, it's going to go to +1. That's how it works behind the scenes. Then we have the sync. And the sync has no option to do the sterilize. If I press something, and we don't need this one anymore, let me just go right here. This one is the sync, and we already talked about the sync, and we even built we built something on the video number 2, I guess. This one is we'll sync it. And remember, you can use the data just to to do whatever you want right here. Right. So notice all the things we can do with this tiny little modules. Now, then you have one more. I'm going to talk about this in a second, but first I want to show you the split. And the split is kind of cool. Now, let me just remove this and maybe make it like that. And I'm going to bring this split. So we have no sound source at this point. Now, with the split, what you can do, you can send, or you can go in, and you can send a kind of a enter or go in with the face, whatever face, doesn't matter. Maybe I'm going to bring the face in, which is the device face. And at the end of the day, we are going to be getting, of course, something like this, right? Let me just go to slow so we can see it. And it's the good old, device face. Now then, you're going to be getting other outs right here. And this one is not like the merge that we've learned in a few sections, where it's going to be toggling through the different stages. No, well, on this one, again, we can get up to 8 ports, and maybe I'm going to do 4. But this one, what it does, it will, it's a little bit weird to show you. It's just going to be outputting whatever is that you're doing right here, but it's going to kind of shift the phase by a little bit. If we are doing 4, this one is going to be shifted by 25%, the other one 25, the other one 25, until we get, of course, the 100%. So what it's doing is shifting the different ports by a tiny bit. So if I have to kind of show you this in a little bit better, maybe I can go to display right there and just bring a second oscilloscope so we can see the number 3 and the number 4, this one and this one. And the problem right now is that they are the same color. So I'm going to go to this one right here, and instead of going directly, I'm going to use the plus. Now, I'm doing nothing with the plus. The only thing I'm doing is just changing the color. That's the only thing that we are doing. And on the other ones, I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to be changing the color. This is going to be this. And notice that maybe if I go to slow, this one is going to be shifted a little bit more. Notice it's on a different place. And if I do here and maybe go, I don't know, to yellow and do the same thing, at some point we get the same, but again, it's just going to be shifted, right? So that's the point of the split. You can still, connect whatever it is that you want. And at the end, it will output the same thing that you go in, but it's going to be shifted by some amount. If you're using 2, it's going to be shifted by 50%. If I delete this because we don't need it anymore and go here, notice that right in the middle of the other one is being shifted to the 50%. So let me just bring an oscillator. No, let me just bring this one, the Phasor. Okay. So if I bring the sine mod and I go right here and connect it right there and go all the way down, I'm going to go there and just make it a pitch so we can see what's going on. We just get nothing. So this one, what it does behind the scenes, and we already have something on an oscillator. If you go to an oscillator, we get this one right here where we can do phase modulation, remember? Well, this one works the same way, but it's kind of a built-in. So if you go to the description, it says modulates incoming phase signal with a sine wave. right? So whatever signal we go in is going to phase modulate it with the sine wave. That's why when, we go up, we start getting that phase modulation, right? And at this point, we should know how phase modulation is and how it looks, because we talked about this way earlier. And it's doing just that. Now, this one is going to alter, and notice it's going way up. So think of this like the ratio control, for example, right? So of course, this one is just going to change the sound by a ton. Notice that we do get that kind of a phase modulation kind of a sound. Sounds, of course, a little bit different. And remember that we can use the other modules just to, make it a bit better. So let's say I want to bring the sine wave. So in this case, I'm going to be doing that phase modulation, and I'm doing it before the sine wave. And we get that phase modulation kind of a sound. If I do it before, just going to be a little bit different because, of course, we are now doing bipolar. This is going here, it's making it bipolar, and then we are just making unipolar again. So, it depends on what you want to do, of course. Yeah. If we do phase modulation with a sine wave and an oscillator, we are just going to get pretty much the same thing, right? Right. So that's it. That's a sine mod. And at the end of the day, remember, you can use a combination of a lot of them just to get really cool phase waveforms, really cool waveforms right here. Okay, so let's just build something. This is like the fun part. I was going to use the imager just to show you when you offset the phase, but didn't use it. End up using the oscilloscope. Okay, so let's build something, and I want to do something like what we did on the previous section, on the shaper section, where we have 3 different oscillators and we do 3 different things on the 3 oscillators. Because that's, is a nice practice, is a nice example. And it's fun. So, okay, so let's just try to build something. Maybe I'm going to bring a Phasor. I'm going to go right here. Just going to go over there and just bring a Phasor. Maybe going to put it right there. And we are going to use the Phasor as an oscillator. That's what I want to do. Okay, so of course we need a mixer at some point. So I'm going to bring a mixer right here. So I'm going to go maybe there. Okay. So with the Phasor, well, we can go and just connect it right there. And we are just going to be getting something in return. Right, it's going to be a little bit loud, so I'm going to go down, maybe like that. Okay, so what else? What we can change whatever we have right here. Maybe I can bring, a pinch, and maybe something like that. Or maybe something like that. I'm going to like that a little bit more. What else? We can do a mirror, and let's see how it changes the sound. Maybe like it right there. What else? Right now, we are not being bipolar, and we are just still doing that saw, but I'm going to go to the data modules and just change it to a saw. And what we can do is maybe modulate this module. We are going to be getting something else, right? Something different. So I'm going to leave it right there. Okay. So, I'm going to bring a gate, I guess, and I'm going to do a pulse. And again, I'm just trying to being creative right here. Maybe I'm going to go bring a modulator out. And this one will just, go and go and go. And it will just give us an instruction. Maybe I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And what I want to do, I want kind of a rhythm. Maybe I'm going to go all the way down on the volume because it's just a little bit too much. We can even bring a filter in this case just to cut a little bit of the super high frequencies. For now, I'm just going to leave it and let's see what happens. Maybe it's just too annoying. We just can go down in volume. Maybe we can bring an oscillator and just make it shift, between left and right. I'm going to go there and just do this. Now, notice that the instruction is unipolar. Let's make it bipolar so we can go to left and right. And I'm going to make it an 8 note. Why not? So now it is, of course, not super annoying because it's not in the center. It's moving from left and right. So now we're going to bring us maybe some other modules. And this one is going to be a little bit varied in the background. So I kind of like it. All right, so I'm going to make this the module number, the color yellow, or just to give it a color. All right, so let's do something else. I'm going to maybe go down on this one. I'm going to bring the face in right here. And maybe I want to, what do I want to do? Okay, so I know. Okay, so I'm going to go to pitches. Let's do something, some kind of arpeggio or something like this. Now, instead of just using maybe 8, we are going to use less. I'm going to go to, I don't know, 4. So we can do something simple. And let me just kind of write something right here, something that makes sense. So at some point, I want to go out and have some kind of a sound. So I'm going to go to the Phasor. I'm just going to maybe put it right there. And again, what I want to do this and do it with the Phasor. So I'm going to connect it right here. I just connect it right there. Going to disconnect the keyboard. And this one will output something if I play something. Oh, maybe it's too loud. All right, I like that a little bit more. Maybe I just want to change, and let me just make it down, put it down. I want to change how fast it goes. So we can use a bunch of things. I'm gonna use the face, since we are working with face. And I'm just gonna bring the scaler, just gonna connect it right there, and now we can just change how it goes. Maybe we can go 1 to 1. Oh, I like that. Nope. Okay. Well, that was not that bad, but you know, maybe I'm just gonna keep it like that. Okay, so what else can we do? Well, we can use all these modules just to change how it sounds. It's maybe a little bit too bright for me. So I'm gonna go to, I don't know, formant. Why not? And instead of going out, I'm gonna go through the formant right here, and from this one we're gonna go out like that, and we're gonna be all right. I like that a little bit more. The other one is just kind of too bright. This one we get a little bit of bottom. What else? Let's bring the data and change it to something else and make it bipolar. All right, kind of like that. And if we just bring the other one, let's see how it sounds. All right, so I feel we are getting somewhere. This one, I kind of like it. Let me bring a delay, something that we never used so far. Maybe I'm gonna make a section talking about all this that we have right here. All right. So maybe I'm gonna bring this and I'm gonna bring that and just go directly here. And I'm gonna change the color of this one to purple, just to use a color. And I'm gonna keep it there. Maybe we can do a little bit of feedback and a little bit of cutting the highs right there. I'm gonna keep it there. Let's do, let's keep it in 3. And just a little bit of delay. Right. Now the other one needs to go down in volume since it's moving way too much. And right now, maybe I want to move it a little bit more. All right, I kind of like it. Okay, so let's do a little bit more. Right now we have this one that sits way up on the higher frequencies. You have a little bit of low. We can even cut a little bit just to remove the mud. This one sits more in the mids, high mids. So maybe I want something on the lows, right? We have the high section. So let's do a low one. Why not? Okay, so of course, what we can do, we can bring the Phasor again. And I'm just gonna go and maybe just put it right there. Why not? Maybe here. Okay. So this one, of course, will go right here at some point. But maybe I just want to do something else. And on this one, I want lows. So I'm gonna go to 3. So if I just connect it right now and I play something. Like it. I like it. Now, of course, it's way too saw for me. Maybe I can just unshift right here, just shift the left from the right. We get something more stereo, which is fine. Not too much because this is kind of a sub, so, you know. And maybe this one as well, we can shift it just to get that stereo magic. And whenever you do this, and this is just my advice, maybe I can do the same thing on this one. Now, it sounds cool to me because I'm using headphones. Why am I using headphones? Well, I'm talking to a microphone. If I enable my studio monitors, I don't think this is going to sound that good because I'm moving everything. I'm making it super wide. So in a mix, if you don't have a good mono image, it's just going to sound like crap. Now, that's why I'm not kind of shifting a lot, because I know that if I do a lot, it's going to sound super cool on headphones, but on speakers, it's going to sound shitty. So in this case, we have a Phasor, but I kind of don't like what we have. I would like to do a little bit more. What else can we do? You know, what else can we do? Well, maybe we can just go to data again. Maybe I can just make it a pulse instead of a saw, so we can get a little bit of more bottom. Maybe a little bit of that as well. Why not? What else? We can use maybe a sync just to move it a little bit. Maybe a sync right there. Just gonna do it way before the pulse, just not to not to change the polarity. And right now we are going plus and minus is bipolar. If I put it after, we are just making it unipolar. So I'm gonna keep it right here, and maybe then we can do something like that just to get a little bit of movement. For now, I'm just going to leave it down and see what happens with this. What else can we do? Maybe we can go through a filter because right now it's just way too bright. Let's go to a filter. I'm just going to maybe go here. And now we're going through a filter. And we get that low. All right. Alright, I kind of like that. Now, I'm gonna disable this. Now, let's see if we get something cool. Okay, again, I like it. This one, it's maybe a way too much. I'm gonna go up with this one. So what I want to do is maybe I want to add a little bit of movement because right now we are just not doing anything with that, and it sounds a little bit too static for me. So maybe we can go and bring an ADSR and just do a little bit of movement to something. I don't know where yet. Maybe we can. I'm gonna go here, and how can we use this? All right, so maybe I'm gonna go and do this. So every time we play. Let me just do it like that. Yeah, just a little bit of movement. Maybe a little bit more decay, a little bit less attack. Yeah, and some movement right here. Right, I kind of like that. Now let me change this to a purple. And I like it, but it's just way too low. So, maybe make it like that. And I'm gonna do a little bit more. Yeah. Now, we're doing a lot of movement to the sync. And of course, the sync is just gonna give us that kind of a leadish kind of a sound. And it's fine. But so I'm gonna do a little bit right here. So I can get it, we can hear it a little bit more. And we get that. If it's too much, so I'm gonna go there. And I like it. Alright. Okay, so let's see how it sounds in context. I'm gonna go there. I can like it. So a little bit more feedback. So we can even start moving this. Something like that. Why not? Just since we are here, we can do it. Maybe gonna go to the LFO and do the same thing. We could even use the LFO right here and just change how it sounds. But maybe we can use this one. Just move it. Now, of course, it's way too fast. Just way too fast, which is not something I want. I want maybe half of a note. Even maybe slower than that. Let's go to a bar. All right, that sounds cool. Gonna go do it like that. Right, I kind of like it. Let's bring a little bit of reverb and just kind of merge all of this. We could even use a little bit of compression, I guess. All right, so let me just do reverb. And let's see how it sounds with a little bit of reverb. I like the preset right here, smooth reverb, which is not smooth at all. It sounds kind of vintage, right? All right, not that bad. Not that bad for just kind of improvising all of this. All right, so, you know, I just kind of like it. I'm going to put this as a download, and maybe I'm going to put this LFO right here. Maybe it's the LFO section of the synthesizer. Or, yeah, there we go. I'm going to make it red. And okay, man. So I believe it sounds cool. Could be a lot better. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it right here. Going to make this one kind of a blue. And I'm going to upload this so you can just make it better, right? You do a little bit of experimentation, just expand it and make it better. So, all right. So hopefully you like all of this, what we built, everything we've learned, and now you can use it on a real life scenario, not just for practicing like this. Maybe you can just create your own patches, maybe upload your patches and put maybe your patch in the description. Upload it someplace, put it in the description so the people can see what you've built. And remember, I'm going to put this as a download on the description. You have the link right there. You can go to Patreon and get the preset. Of course, it's going to be for free, right? Of course, it's going to be for free. And remember to like, remember to subscribe. And if you have the money, again, just check Patreon. Maybe you can buy me a coffee. That would be really cool. And see you on the next one.